For whoever wins this competition, life can become radically different almost overnight. They'll have promoters and record labels chasing them, hordes of fans following them at every concert. Winning the leads can get you into some really exclusive company, joining the ranks of the world's piano superstars. These days, we're pretty familiar with the glamorous world of the international concert pianist, global celebrities who enjoy honours, riches and worldwide fame. But it wasn't always this way. One man, perhaps more than any other, helped create the model for today's keyboard virtuosos nearly 200 years ago. His name was Franz Liszt, and he was the first piano superstar the world had ever seen. I've come here to Budapest, to the apartment where he spent the last 5 years of his life, and which today is a museum in his name. For me, the most amazing thing in this museum is this piano. This is a Chickering piano, made in Boston. It was sent over to Liszt in 1881, and on top of it is this incredible Liberace-like music stand featuring Liszt's 3 musical heroes. We have Weber here, Schubert, Beethoven, above Liszt himself. And this, for me, is the start of celebrity endorsement. Chickering send this piano to Liszt because they realise his worldwide fame can only add value to their pianos. There had been famous pianists before Liszt. Mozart toured Europe as a child prodigy. Beethoven, too, was a celebrated performer. The decades that followed, though, would bring a whole different order of musical celebrity. Liszt's fame in the 1840s sparked a brand new phenomenon, the first ever fan frenzy. Lisztomania, as it was known, was characterised by insane levels of hysteria. Mostly, it has to be said, among female fans who would collect Liszt's old cigar butts and stash them neatly in their bosoms. They'd also collect broken piano strings, stashing them as saintly relics, and there were a lot of broken piano strings to be had. In one concert alone, allegedly, Liszt broke 3 different pianos. His tours took him to every major cultural centre in Europe and hundreds of smaller towns and villages in between. His travels extended from Moscow and Constantinople in the east to Dublin, Glasgow and Cadiz in the far southwest. In 1840, Liszt visited Leeds. He was just 29, so still young enough to have entered the international piano competition, had it existed. I reckon he would have relished the chance for the showmanship, the spectacle, certainly the opportunity of making everybody else's playing pale into insignificance. In London, Liszt came here, to the Mansion House, where I've come to meet concert pianist and unabashed Lisztomaniac Leslie Howard.
You would have a variety evening and there'd be a novelty piano act somewhere in the middle of it. He gradually got that out of the system and invented the piano recital.
Is Liszt in some way turning the piano into a new instrument? He's somehow evolving what this instrument can be and what it can do?
Well, the first regular images we have of a piano where it is now in the orchestra off to the left really date from when Liszt played.
What happened before that, then?
Well, Mozart used to have, and Beethoven too, had the orchestra surrounding them, and they played with their back to the audience generally.
What's amazing about that is I get no sense, in a way, of the artistry. I don't get any sense of what your body's doing to make that sound. Yeah, it's not a good concert experience to sit behind a pianist.
No.
Liszt realised that by turning the piano around, the audience would be able to hear more clearly and also better admire his prowess at the keyboard.
Well, if you position yourself where the front row of the audience might be,
okay,
this is what you'll get.
Well, that's absolutely, yeah, that's the modern concert sound. That's that lovely, warm, big sound coming out of the piano. Great. Liszt's revolutionary approach to the piano didn't just bring him fame and riches, it gave him status as well.
Wherever he went, he was invited to stay with the king, the Tsar, the prince, the duchess, whomever, and there was no door closed to him. When he was in Rome, of course he stayed at the Vatican. When he was here, in 1886, of course, he stayed with Queen Victoria at Windsor Castle.
Thanks Thanks to his skills at the keyboard, Liszt could hold his head up in the highest society and alongside the greatest heroes of the age. And today we have our own piano celebrities, modern-day musical champions with global reach. People like Lang Lang, who this year becomes global ambassador for the Leeds International Piano Competition.
Liszt was the biggest rock star during his time. He knows where to perform, and he knows how to do the programming, and sometimes do the Beethoven sonata, and sometimes do some improvisation, right on. And so in a way, he was a great musician, in the same time, a great showman.
2 centuries after Liszt's birth, we idolise our celebrity performers more than ever, and the flamboyant concert virtuoso remains an iconic part of our cultural world. It started with Liszt and looks set to continue for centuries to come.